Come on over. I'm about to start.
So you use a carbide chain on the
Hang on.
chainsaw?
So stone sculpture is unique, but you probably already know that because as an art form, it's subtractive. Almost all other art forms, if you step closer, you'll be in the shade. Almost all other art forms are additive, where you're adding paint to a canvas or welding steel or even adding notes to a paper on paper for playing music. So you have to take away from a solid like this, right? And you can't do it with your hands. So we have to do it with a hammer and a chisel. You may have to come back in a year.
I know, as I was going to say, that's going to take you a long time to do that.
So instead of using that, the old style, we actually use diamond blades like this one. And you can cut that deep, but you have to take all that material away. And I got to leave something, even though I do take a lot of material off, I still have to leave something. So on this saw here, which is a 16-inch saw, I can cut that deep, but again, I'm taking too much material away. Our favorite tool is a diamond core drill, which has diamond teeth on it, and it allows us to core into the stone and take out a lot of material quickly and gently, and it allows us to make bases a lot of times out of the same stone, which you've seen in the art gallery and about, if the cores are big enough. It also allowed me to make those eternal tears that are on the table and the heart luminaries. And so that's why we love this tool. That's also one of my diamond core bits. The other thing about stone sculpture is that it's heavy. Forklift, Valerie, strong. Most stone weighs about 160 to 170 pounds a cubic foot. The translucent stones that you saw in there, the fluorites and the calcites and the Argentine onyxes, weigh 190 pounds a cubic foot. They're denser, which until I knew that, I was like, oh, they're translucent, they must be lighter. No, they're heavier.
I'll be darned.
Well, you learn this in when you're working with your gems.
It's fun. Fun finding the differences, yeah.
So what we can do is we can take a diamond blade and cut parallel grooves. This is to remove a lot of material and then snap those off. And then continuing to use a tooth chisel, we continue to shape the block and then, thank you, don't drop it.
Yeah, do a few of those so you don't have to do gym.
And then using a grinder like this, we continue to shape the stone. And then using the old standby of sandpaper, the touchy-feely, pass it along. So this is 60 grit and this is 2,500 grit. Come.
Nice.
I have 5,000 grit sandpaper, but we don't really use it. It doesn't do anything.
Really?
Not really. It's for glass.
Okay.
And I don't usually carve stone except for obsidian that is that hard. And then on the weekends, I actually, I do dental work.
I would like to see that.
Yeah. So anyway, we also use diamond abrasives when we can, which is basically the same. This is 60 grit, and this is 3,500 grit.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And that 3,000 takes it right to a polish.
Now, when you use like the disc grinders, do you have a water feed?
Yeah, center water feed grinder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes. And I have little ones, and then big ones, and everything in between. And when the outside edge wears off, we actually cut them down to fit the smaller sizes.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way of getting the most out of them.
So you might ask, how do you get those pieces to turn? so smoothly and eloquently? You might ask that.
Yes, how do you get those pieces to turn so smoothly and elegantly?
I'm glad you asked that. We use these bronze sleeves or bearings, and this would go up inside the sculpture. This goes in the base, and in between is a stainless steel pin that fits really nice and tight, but not too tight. And so they just turn really smoothly, and it comes apart for shipping.
Oh, okay.
Because if we ship pieces with those bases attached, that's a lot of weight, and the stone is strong, but it's not that strong. I have contemporary sculptors that say, oh yeah, my pieces turn like T. Barney's. And what they've done is they've drilled a hole in the piece and a hole in the base and put a piece of rebar in there. And as you turn their sculpture, it continues to drill. And it doesn't. It tips. So who wants to carve a little bit of stone?
So I have a question. And you've obviously, how many cups can you get from this? I mean, it's going to take a while to
I will
break that
probably
down, right?
split this up. This actually, if you look at this side, there are drill holes here because this was a bigger block,
Oh,
and
really?
it had a crack in it. So I wanted to get to solid stone, so I drilled these holes, and then I filled it with Dexpan, which is a non-exploding expanding compound. And so I make it up like chocolate milk and pour it into these holes, and the next morning it's cracked.
Oh, really?
Yes. My
So
favorite thing to do is that when I go to carving camps is I pour it into a Coke can, and in the morning the Coke can is splayed out.
Oh, how
So,
much does
but
this
this stone has such a crazy grain to it that you can't split it the traditional way of using pins and feathers, where you drill some holes and you put these special wedges in and then it splits it. But this doesn't split that way. It just goes everywhere. So that's why we use the Dexpan. This weighs 190 pounds a cubic foot. So cube this out. As stone sculptors, we talk about cubic feet because we don't really care about your countertop feet.
Okay.
So, you wanted to carve some?
Sure.
Sure.
How?
Well, I'm going to teach you.
Glad to.
Come right over here. Put on your safety glasses. You signed the waiver, right?
Yeah.
So you're just gonna do that. And that's actually where you want to look. You want to look here. You don't necessarily want to look there. Are you right or left-handed?
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
So you want to look?
So you want to try to look there.
Yeah, right
But
here.
Give yourself a little room. There you
Okay.
go. All right. Oh, you're a natural. Look at that. You can go a little. You can go a
Deeper?
little higher.
Okay, like
There you go.
this, right here.
Yeah, just like that.
Oh yeah, chips are
There we go. There we go. You're a natural. All right, we're gonna go get some wine. I want you to finish this piece.
All of it?
All of it.
So really, so when you're just knocking it down, what are you trying to get at? I mean,
I'm shaping it.
oh really?
I'm shaping it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're making it smoother, like this off of this. For
Yes.
instance? Like
Yes. Exactly.
here.
Yep. 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 Look at you go. Go, girl. Okay, that's enough.
Okay. That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, see, that's
Same thing.
therapy right there.
Same thing. Yeah.
Here you go.
Now I'll keep this right here. I won't touch that.
Tackle that.
That's right.
Oh, I
There
see.
you go. That's all it is.
Yeah. Really cool.
That's a tooth chisel. This is a
Yeah.
point chisel, and that's basically all the tools. Now, a lot of artisans in Italy and Greece, they have chisels, but they're shaped like gouges, like wood gouges, because that's how they're carving. They're not going to use sandpaper,
Huh.
and if they're doing a finger, they'll use these gouges or all different sizes, and they're really sharp, but they need to be sharpened all the time because the stone is abrasive and makes them dull. Did you want to carve something? You were the one that wanted to carve.
I did?
Didn't you say you wanted to carve?
Nah, I
You
don't
said-
think so.
Come on. Let me see. Can you chiss it out?
Give him. He can wear his glasses.
That's right.
They should be okay.
Yeah. It's not like we're using power tools.
I'll start back in here, huh?
Sure. Angle off a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Oh, chips flying, just flying.
Wow.
Wow, you're a natural.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, there you
Thanks.
go.
Yeah,
So the-
yesterday, a little kid got a free pair of glasses.
So that's a Dextropan?
This is called
Right.
Dexpan. It's a non-exploding, expanding compound, and they actually use it in mining because it works underwater. It's not. It's actually a chemical reaction between water and the chemicals, as
Yeah, I
opposed
saw 'em
to
gold diggers.
probably.
As opposed to a wedge type thing.
What?
As opposed to a wedge.
Yeah, because the grain on this, if you drilled some holes, put a wedge in there, it's just going to break, and the wedge is going to keep going down, and it's not going to crack where you want it to. In fact, this didn't really crack where I wanted it to, because this was the crack,
Oh,
So
yeah.
what
and
about
it sort of
this
goes
part
down that
here?
way.
Oh,
Well, you're not ready for that.
Oh, really?
I know I said carving stone, you can't carve it by hand with your bare hands,
Yeah.
but I've been doing this for 43 years, so I can actually carve stone by hand.
That guy right out.
You planted that there.
I did. How did you know?
If you
That
have
was a sample right there.
it.
Yeah.
I
Well, that's
like-
it's supposed to be hidden with
those
these.
are just carbon steel all the way down, huh?
Yes. For power tools, we use carbide tip chisels. These have little
carbide.
carbide tips
oh yeah.
in the end.
Okay.
They're good, except it's also brittle.
Yeah.
And my favorite power carving chisels are chisels I actually made myself out of A1 tool steel, and they stay sharper, longer, and they don't break. These teeth can break off, and then you're done. Now, if you want to step back for a second, I'll show you how I do it. We basically make dust.
Perfect. You got the touch.
At least it made permanent.
Look at that. Got your groove
Goes a
going
little
right
faster.
Yeah.
So Michelangelo, he had interns. I have power tools.
Yeah. I think I rather had used the power tools.
Yeah,
Speed it up a little bit.
I can't let you use them.
I know.
I used to. I mean, I used to let people who can't carve, and then my attorney friend said, "Do they? How's your liability insurance?"
Yeah, exactly. Like, got something in my eye. Doing blind. I got
Well,
an
no, that's what
operation, right?
that's what the glasses are
glasses
for.
are.
You
So-
can take that home.
Can I have a
do
chip?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, there's acid wash chips in the box at the end of the table there too.
Oh, might take you up on that.
Yeah,
also.
yeah, and then
I'll
you're
make some
welcome.
cabs.
You can that's pretty soft, but
Is it?
there's also the soda light that's in the other box that you can take home with you. Not
So
the box.
So you get classes, or you just give people just a little. You don't have time with all of the stuff you're making.
No, and they don't really teach stone carving in school anymore.
Right.
So there are carving symposiums around the world, which I've attended or been an instructor at or been a guest instructor at, and that's where you really learn because you spend a week with tools and everything and carving a sculpture. And I used to be an instructor, but I don't really like doing that because it's a lot of time involved. So now they invite me to come be a guest instructor. I get to work on my sculpture and don't have to teach. I can answer questions like,
That's right.
what is this? What's the point? But, and actually, man has been using this for a long time, and that's using tools is actually what separates men from the animals, right? Because we use tools. But like when they were doing the pyramids in Egypt and all they had was copper, but they learned how to anneal copper. But when they were building those, they had like 10,000 guys forging chisels or forging copper hammers, because you could do 10 to 20 hits on the stone, depending on the hardness, and then you needed a new chisel. So they'd have baskets of new chisels and used chisels, and then these runners would come pick up this basket of used chisels, take it to the forger. They'd resharpen them, and that way the sculptors could keep going. Their masons could keep going. Otherwise, they'd be like, "Okay, need a new chisel here. Hey."
Wow, that's a good story.
That's a good story, and I'm sticking to it. I also, most of the time, it's dusty and loud, and so this is pretty much what I look like all day long. My wife has to throw rocks at me to get my attention, and it sounds like this, except it's louder.
Yeah. Well, at least with that, you didn't have to worry about Cobra.
No, that's right. That's right. Well, that's my shop, and I have big fans that blow the dust away and stuff.
Yeah.
And